What is up, guys? This is MackdaddyX, and I can't believe I'm about to do this, but I wanted to show you guys my appreciation for my first 1,000 channel views. And I wasn't exactly sure how I was going to celebrate this, but then I got this bright idea. So I've got this whole setup, changed the look on my channel to try and represent what I call the 4 personalities of gaming. Type 1, 2, 3, and 4. Type 1 and 2 are the male personalities, and Type 3 and 4 are the female personalities. And to best demonstrate this, I found these puppets that I had pulled out of the closet that had been collecting dust for years, that I had actually made about 15 years ago. And so, check this out. Here's your Type 1 personality right here. And I call him old school, man, because Type 1, his personality is very similar to myself. This dude is old school. Look how old this guy is. He's mad old, you know, he's still clinging on to the arcade stick, you know what I'm saying? He grew up in the arcades, you know, this is the guy who's going to tell you all the stories about how he had to walk 15 miles to go play Pac-Man and Pong when they first came out. You know what I'm saying? He was like 35 years old during the golden age of gaming in 1980. You know what I mean? He's kind of grumpy. He's got a million old school stories. He doesn't really like the new games. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I was like, this is perfect. This is Type 1 personality right here. So, MackdaddyX definitely represents, like, this guy. He's like the Walter Day of gaming. And, as you can see, he's kind of holding on to the Tekken arcade controller here. You know, he's old school. This is the type of personality. And, you guys let me know what personality you have and whatnot after this. But, he's the type of personality. He doesn't really like Street Fighter 4 because it's not hardcore anymore. He doesn't really get with the new fighting games. He likes the old fighting games, you know what I'm saying? He likes Street Fighter 2, you know, he likes Street Fighter Alpha 2 Gold. You know, he remembers when all these games came out in the arcade, you know, going back, you know, he's going to tell you all the stories about how he served time back in 1987, you know, he was in Vietnam/Contra back in the forest. This is that guy, you know, the old school gamer, you know, still trying to game now that things are online, but, you know, this guy's old school. You know what I'm saying? Has that old school personality, was raised with old school values. So that's Type 1 personality, and he's always at odds, you know, in the never-ending struggle with this cat right here, and I call him New School. New School, this is the dude who loves all the latest fighting games, you know what I'm saying? He's holding on to this control pad, you know what I'm saying? He's got the gamepad. He's loving Street Fighter 4. He loves these new games, you know, like World of Warcraft. Loves the fact that he can rely on them listening to him with patches. You know, he's the new school gamer. He buys a new game, like, you know what I'm saying, every 3 months religiously. You know what I'm saying? Whereas the old school dude right here, he had a game back in the day like once every year or two. You know what I'm saying? So, this is New School right here. And so, New School the dog, you know what I'm saying? Look, he's rocking the Chun-Li controller right there. So yeah, this guy loves all the new games. He loves all the games that are like extremely balanced and arcade and tournament playable. You know what I'm saying? He loves the fact Street Fighter 4 has ultra combos, you know what I'm saying? He loves the rage meter in Tekken 6. He loves, like, you know, bound combos in Tekken 6. He thinks it's genius, you know, he loves to... He can't wait for games like Soul Calibur 5 to come out, you know, can't wait for Street Fighter X, Tekken, you know, this is the new school guy, you know what I'm saying? He also loves the shooters, you know, loves Call of Duty, loves all of those games, you know what I'm saying? He loves, like, you know, Crisis, Fallout, all these new school games that appeal to the masses. He represents the new generation of gamer, you know. He has, I would call him the gifted gamer. He has a lot of skills because he's young. You know, his reflexes are still good. He's at the peak of his skills, you know. He can attend tournaments and pro gaming and whatnot. You know what I mean? This is the new school guy right here. You know, and he's forever at odds with the old school guy. You know, they're just always arguing because they don't see eye to eye on stuff. You know, he did not grow up in the arcades. You know, the first system he ever played was something like the PlayStation or something like that. You know what I'm saying? He just doesn't understand, like, raw competition face to face. He would rather play online. You know what I'm saying? This is just that new school cat. So going on to the female gamers, who you have up here is the Type 3 personality, the typical staple female gamer right here. You know what I mean? Couldn't find anything better than to take one of my wife's Barbies here. So, you know, she plays with the pink controller. Everything is pink, you know. She prefers to play games in her AKA colors. You know what I'm saying? Everything's pink and green. You know, she's the type of girl gamer that likes the adventure game. She doesn't like anything violent or one-on-one. She doesn't want to play the mono fighting games. Doesn't like Tekken. Doesn't like Virtua Fighter. She doesn't really like Street Fighter. She likes the character design. She might like Chun-Li and all them, but she doesn't want to play them because they're too violent. Yet she wants to play God of War. She wants to play Fallout. She wants to play Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. You know, she's a big fan of all of those type adventure games, but she doesn't really like, you know, the violent stuff. The stuff that us hardcore gamers think are skilled. You know what I'm saying? She's not really into those, but, you know, this is the typical female gamer. That's what she represents with her pink controller. And so, you know, she, for some reason, just can't seem to get on board with fighting games, and it's kind of on the old school and new school guys to try and get her involved. You know, she might play a little Tekken here and there with her husband or with her boyfriend, you know what I'm saying? This represents her, the Type 3 personality, but she games socially, I'll put it that way. You know, kind of like a social drinker. She'll only game if her boyfriend is gaming. You know what I mean? She finally went and got a, you know, like one of the Nintendo DS's or whatnot, and she jumped on Zelda somewhere, and, you know, so she calls herself a gamer, but, you know, she's still a girl. And then finally, last but not least, you have your Type 4 personality. And this is the hardcore female gamer. This is the type of gamer that represents the hardcore female gamer. She doesn't even like any of the new video games. This is the kind of gamer, I don't know, like maybe one of your relatives, like an aunt or your mom or someone that just, she hasn't really played a lot of video games in like 20 years because she liked Mrs. Pac-Man, you know what I'm saying? She likes all the retro games, you know what I mean? She doesn't really like any of these new school games. They're either too violent for her or whatever, but she used to play a heck of a lot of Tetris, you know. She's into games like The Sims, you know. This is I guess you would call her the old school equivalent of the female gamer. You know what I mean? She likes the retro stuff. I think my wife kind of falls into this category right here, you know, and because she sets really high records on games like Mrs. Pac-Man that even I can't touch. But, you know, as you can see here, she's got the little educational garb on. Looks like she just graduated. You know, she's the old school female gamer type. You know what I mean? She used to play like Outrun in the arcade. You know what I'm saying? Spy Hunter. You know, she used to play all the old school stuff, and now she's the one that, like, she'll play like Farmville and all these other application type games on Facebook, you know what I mean, but doesn't really want to jump into consoles or MMOs or anything like that. She's leaving World of Warcraft to this little girl right here, you know, the casual girl gamer. She's not one of them. She's you know, she's old school, but at heart, as you can see, the controller she likes to use is the fight pad, because in the heart, she's just a raging gamer waiting to break out if she can find the games lately that she wants to play. So, you know, you know what I'm saying? She'll play like Toki Toki Boom or maybe Luxor. You know, she likes those type of games, puzzle games. You know what I'm saying? Columns, you know. But she is valid. She's a Type 4 personality. She is out there, and there's lots of women that fall into this category that would be interested in gaming, but they don't like any of the games nowadays. You know what I'm saying? They're into the retro stuff, you know, like 1990 and before. You know, the golden age of gaming, you know. They might pick up Donkey Kong or something. You know what I mean? They're not going to be, you're not going to find them playing Street Fighter or, you know, any of this new type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? But that's pretty much it. You know, so this is just something to kind of give you the tickles like it did for me. I kind of giggling at this little setup here about all the 4 personalities of gamers to celebrate 1,000 channel views, and I don't really know what else I'm going to do with this, you know what I'm saying, other than have just a few laughs, because I'm always putting up discussions and talking about the old school versus the new school and how things are different now and all of that stuff. So at least you have kind of a face to put to all of this craziness. You know what I'm saying? So there you have it, guys. The 4 different personalities, and got a little bit more time left here, so I guess I'll also talk about, since we have 1,000 channel views now, what are my goals? You know what I'm saying? What are my goals for this channel, for this site, and whatnot? The first goal overall is esports. You know what I'm saying? I am a shoutcaster, broadcaster. I put up some other stuff too sometimes, some comedy videos for y'all, but heavily on gameplay right now and learning the systems in fighting games so that eventually I can go into esports, and I think that's a goal for all of us pioneers. I talk a lot about us pioneers because we're the ones who lived through, you know, last 7 to 8 years, lived through the internet becoming big with YouTube, and you know, we're the ones who set all this stuff up. Even though I'm jumping onto the YouTube bandwagon late, you know, my channel's only a month old, you know, at this point. But you know, still one of the pioneers for this, and us pioneers want to see esports go big. You know what I mean? Us old school gamers complained so much back in the day about how there either wasn't enough competition or how video games would never be taken seriously. So it was always kind of this like underground or closet sport that we played seriously with just a very small following, very few gamers. Now you can actually see it getting to the point where esports could become legit very soon. You know, you already have companies putting together tournaments, but tournaments isn't quite sports, not yet. You know what I mean? If you want to get to the level like the NBA or the NFL, you know, or any of the major league organizations, or what the UFC has become, you start off in tournaments like the UFC did, you know, back in the early 90s. And once you are able to find someone with enough money to put back into the marketing, to start generating, you know, huge revenues, and focusing more on the actual gamers, that's where I think gaming's going. I think eventually esports is going to become a reality. And, you know, just like it did for the UFC, I think it's going to take somebody to dump a huge amount of their own money, kind of like what Dana White and the Fertitta brothers did, you know, way back in the early 90s, back into gaming, you know, to make reality TV shows and to get the general public interested in the gamers as well as the game, you know what I'm saying? Back when the first Ultimate Fighter, you know, UFC 1, back when that first aired, not even the referees, let alone the fans, knew what was going on when the Gracies were putting people in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu chokeholds, you know what I'm saying? Nobody knew what was happening because nobody knew Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. This is kind of where gaming is now, you know. You can't walk up to, you know, the average housewife and ask them what professional gaming is, because they probably just don't know. And, you know, I think that eventually we'll get to the point where everybody knows the name. You know what I mean? Just like everybody knows the name Michael Jordan and it represents something in basketball because he was the greatest of all time. You know, I think in the next 10, 15 years or so, maybe 20 years, you're going to have the face of gaming show up. You know what I'm saying? You know, that one guy that everybody looks at that's like, whoa, you know, this is the dude who makes millions of dollars, multi-millions of dollars a year, either playing for a professional gaming team. You know, we all know the number on his jersey, has contracts left and right, shows up on TV with commercials. You know, this sort of stuff has already happened in other countries. You know, it's happened in Korea. You know, I just see it happening in America, you know, in the next few years. And you're going to have gaming get from what it is right now, underground, to something that's considered very seriously. You know, where somebody actually is offered multi-million-dollar contracts to play video games like Tekken, like the ones we like, for a few years at a time. You know what I'm saying? This stuff is going to be on the horizon. You know, I'm going ahead to predict it now because it just looks like esports in the tournament fashions that it's taking on right now with, like, you know, Evolution, MLG, all these companies that are trying to make it more professional, commentators sprouting up left and right for games like StarCraft 2, you know, Husky, HD, Day 9, all these guys coming up. And, you know, it's becoming more and more professional. It's sounding more and more professional, you know what I'm saying? So that's my goal in esports, is to become one of these professional broadcasters for the fighting games and to really be one of the pioneers that helps bring esports to the next level. Try to filter out all the negatives, you know, like cheating, you know what I'm saying? Basically the, any kind of like boosting or cheating, it's like, I don't know, the steroids of boxing or fighting sports, you know what I'm saying? It's try to filter out all that stuff and really make esports something that's legitimate so it can start generating money, you know what I'm saying? Because right now, even if somebody knocks off, you know, first place, $20,000 or for even if it's first place, $80,000, that opportunity only happens once a year, and that's really barely enough to get, in some areas, just an apartment, you know, let alone own a home, and you have to actually win to get the money. So those are my thoughts, guys. And let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know which type of personality you have. Type 1, Type 2, Type 3, and Type 4. And I'm out. Peace.